Hi, it's Alexis Hasselberger, time management and productivity coach. Have you always been good at this? This is a question that I actually get fairly frequently. So, from my clients or from other people I'm meeting with, they'll say, have you always been good at this time management stuff, this productivity stuff? And my answer is like, no, definitely not, not always. These are skills that I had to learn. Right. Am I good at them now? Yes, I am. Why am I good at them? Because I've had a lot of practice, right? I've had a lot of reps at this stuff. And so just like anything else, time management, productivity, et cetera, these are skills that you can learn, even if you feel like you are totally disorganized, like you're just that way, that it's something you've tried in the past and you can't, you can't get beyond it. You can. These are skills that you can learn. Now, again, how do I know this? Because I have had to learn them because I was not always good at this stuff. I'm going to give you just one example. So I talk a lot about task systems, task management systems, right? And I want to share with you what the evolution of that actually looked like for me. So my task system back when I was, say, in school and college was that I literally used to write what I had to do on the back of my left hand with a ballpoint pen. And then I would try really hard not to wash the back of my hand when I was taking a shower or washing my hands, et cetera. Gross, I know, but that's what I did. I would just write it on the back of my hand. Not much of a system, right? And then, when I got my first job out of college, things got a little more, a little more complex. I needed something that wasn't just the back of my hand. I had more stuff to do. And so I started using a legal pad, like just a notepad. And every day I would write a list of the things that I had to do and I would cross out what I did. And then the next day I would just rewrite that same list with the new stuff. And it would just kind of go on and go on and go on. I had a similar system in my personal life. I mean, if we can call it a system at that point, I used a Moleskine notebook and I would just transfer things from day to day to day. And I would, always be worried about losing it. And that worked for a little while, right? And then eventually my life got more complex and my job responsibilities became greater and it no longer worked to write and rewrite things. I had too much to do. I couldn't, I couldn't keep the extraneous details in my mind. I needed a place to put that. And so I started using a spreadsheet. And for many years, I ran my own productivity stuff on a spreadsheet. I also ran, businesses that I worked for. We ran that on a spreadsheet. And that worked pretty well. I was able to track follow-ups and dates and priorities, and I was able to sort, and it worked better. But it was still kind of clunky. It was still pretty manual. It didn't work really well for my phone and things like that. And so, eventually over the years and years and years, I honed a process, a methodology of task management that works in any platform, no matter what you're doing. So I use an app right now, but I use this methodology that I teach to others and that I use myself around prioritization and next actions and next action dates. I use this to have a fully functioning system that actually works so well that I teach it to other people. And that, many people tell me that when they work with me, the single biggest takeaway they have is building that single trusted system, right? So it started out, remember, by writing things on the back of my hand, not a system, not something I would be happy to teach someone. It was just silly. And over the years, through practice and through iteration, I came on the system I have now, which does work really, really well. So these are skills you can learn. I did a lot of things wrong before I did things that were right. And so can you. Now, did I have some reasons why I needed to get good at time management, right? It's not just about task systems, it's about other pieces as well. Of course I did. I had needs around this and I had values too. So for instance, I have always had a terrible memory. Like I learned very early on that I can't rely on it. I have had a terrible memory. And so I needed to have some other system. I also had needs around time management. When I was in college, I worked pretty much full time because I needed, I was living in New York City. I needed to be able to afford that. And I didn't want to go even greater into student loan debt. And so I worked full time. And so I needed to get really good at using my time in a way that allowed me to take a full load of classes, allowed me to work full time, and allowed me to do this without totally burning out, right? So I had some needs there and some, really some deficiencies, right? In my brain, my memory doesn't work very well. And so those things led me to want to get better at time management. I also had maybe some values that led me to want to get better at things around time management. So, for instance, for me, my top values are around accountability. So doing what I say I will by when I say I will every time. And then also around autonomy. Like I want my time to be my own. I don't want anybody else to have any control over it. And so I learned that if I wanted those things, I was going to have to learn the skills required to get really good with my time so that, other people wouldn't micromanage me and things like that. Now, if you look at yourself, right, you might think about time management, about productivity as these kind of ancillary skills. But to me, it's not like time management is, it's an important end in itself, right? It's a means to an end. It's what allows me to do the things that I want in life. And so I'd love for you to be thinking about it that way too, right? It's not just about like doing all the things, it's about how do we learn to use our time in accordance with our circumstances, in accordance with our wants and our needs and our values, because the time management piece itself, that's not what's important, right? It's what that does for you. It's how that lets you lead your life. Now, if you're somebody who has been thinking about, just the fact that maybe you're overwhelmed, you feel a little overworked, more of your time is spent doing things that you really don't want to be doing, or too much of your time is spent doing things that feel like obligations and not that feel like they're pushing your life further or driving you to what you want to do, then I want you to think about ways that you could improve those skills, right? Because it's not just, oh, it has to be this way forever. And if you're looking for there's a surefire path to get there, then I do want to invite you to my program, Time Well Spent. I'm enrolling right now through September 2nd. That will be the last day to enroll. And I offer this about twice a year. So now is the time to enroll. If these are skills that you're looking to build so that you can be doing more with what you want in your time and in your life and be stressing less. So if that is something that sounds interesting to you, you can learn more just by clicking on the link below.
If you like the content you're seeing, you should consider subscribing because only 13.9% of the people that watch our videos are actually subscribed.